Super. I think my last appearance on a Metaverse panel was as MetaHuman, when I self-coded my own MetaHuman, and I walked into the stage virtually, which was being live casted, right? And I got all my clients also recreated as their MetaHuman using the Unreal Engine. They all walked in, and a lot of people told me it's a hype. What are you trying to create? I mean, you're just trying to create a lot of gimmicks out there. But the answer was that more and more clients, if you get them in, get them to experience what does it feel like being a MetaHuman and being inside the metaverse, that kind of recreates a lot of excitement within them, right? And drives them to create more campaigns out there. So today's topic, metaverse hype or hit. I would say the hype cycle on the metaverse is almost at its tipping point, which means the true value of Web3 metaverse is going to evolve now. And metaverse seems to encapsulate everything, right? Right from augmented reality to virtual reality to NFTs to blockchain, virtual worlds and beyond. It kind of encapsulates everything. And I keep saying that it's a paradise for creative folks. I mean, what you can do in the space creatively, it's unimaginable. And for our audience today, I would just love to give you a heads up, and I'm not sure how many of you are following what's happening from the India scheme of things on Metaverse. How many of you are following? A show of hands? Only my colleagues have raised their hand saying that, okay, we know. All right, back in November, the announcement made by Meta, and then India saw a series of campaigns on Metaverse. Right from the first couple getting married on the Metaverse platform, which I'm sure everyone knows. Then there are brands came along, like Coca-Cola was the sponsor to that first wedding which happened, right? We also had a very unique campaign, which is a Metaverse example from rural India, where Colgate Palmolive created experience on Women's Day, where Colgate and UP Forest Department, they came together and they actually chose 5 tribal ladies from UP Sonbhadra who ended up creating a piece of art through volunteers. So that was a unique case of how metaverse marketing can also be used for rural India. Also a brilliant case for inclusion. Like metaverse is an era which we are shaping up in a big way, right? There was a internet era, there was an AI era, and now there's a Web3 era. So we have the power as leaders to shape up this and create that metaverse for good framework. Some of the most markiest campaign which India saw in recent times, and I would say which clicked all possible parameters when it comes to metaverse for good framework, is this work by GSK on Enoland. Again, I'm not sure how many of you followed it, right? That was a brilliant example of inclusion and diversity where they brought the entire India together. There's the very brilliant use case on Volvoverse where XC40 was launched. Again, brilliant example of metaverse and sustainability coming together. So today on the panel, and I keep saying that if a category is going to gain on metaverse, it has to be sports, entertainment and music. It goes like by default, right? There's so much work happening in that space. And here today I have my colleagues Jatin from Royal Enfield and Aditya from Gujarat Titan. And both of them are diehard believers of the platform. One has already dirtied his hands on the platform and has created one of the epic campaigns. By the way, on cricket, one of the brands which I know is Nestle Munch created an amazing experience on cricket where they did a fan meet inside the metaverse. They got 60 fans and they got them to meet their favorite cricketers inside the metaverse as a space, right? Isn't that fabulous? And anything to do with cricket, metaverse, and India needs to give you a lot of scale as well. That's something which is missing right now. That's an area which Aditya is working towards. So let's hear his views in terms of how it's shaping up for the sports and entertainment industry. Are you excited? Are you? Yes? Yes?
Thanks, Niraj, for the introduction and laying the foundation for the conversation. I truly believe that it's a hit, and like you said, I think it's the hype part is coming to an end, and like we've spoken before, also it's time to do some quality work in this space. It's such a vast space that I think for sport, entertainment, and music. Like you said, experiences. What are we looking, for our fans is to create some good experiences, and this platform has really given us the you know, the space to do that. And like you said, creative, you know, I mean, you can get as creative as you want in this space. And we too did a interaction with some of our players. In fact, because we were in a biosecure bubble, it became a very integral part of our interactions with our players, and we did up to maybe 4, you know, different interactions where the player, you know, spoke about what was happening, the biosecure bubble, the human side of things, you know, and some of the fans were so ecstatic, you know, to just be able to see them in their avatar form, and, you know, be able to stand up so close and talk to them, and especially when, you know, there was zero access to players. I think that's the beauty of this whole space, where you can, you know, interact, you can, you know, experience certain things that, you know, a fan would not be able to experience. And there's a huge engagement aspect to it as well. And that's what these 3 different, you know, categories is all about, is engaging your fans.
There's a big myth when it comes to Metaverse, right? People feel that unless you don't have a fancy headgear, you cannot enter the Metaverse. You got to download a heavy app and pull so many asset files for you to enter the Metaverse. Is that true? When Gujarat Titan launched the logo, what was an experience from user standpoint? Do they need to have a headgear to enter the space?
No, in fact, you know, we all know we are very mobile, you know, country. So, I mean, it was as easy as just the app, and, you know, people were there. They were there in plenty just to see, you know, a logo being launched, and we obviously created something around it with you know, all our players, our coaches, and it had a great response. And the platform we used has ever since been, you know, with us improving. You know, we gave them some valuable feedbacks where we could, you know, change things, and it would really help the interaction points. And glad to say that, you know, they are making those improvements, because they do understand how important these 3 different places, and especially sports, where I can speak from. It's been a great experience.
So just to give you a context and add to what Aditya said, the most buzzing concert on the Metaverse was Travis Scott. Everyone must have heard about it. 2.7 million people attended Travis Scott. Not even a single guy attended through a VR device. Shows the power of mobility as a platform, right? So more and more people would, or even Meta's Horizon World is going to have a mobile access. That's when it's going to see the scale, the much needed scale, right? Now, over to Jatin has been doing some fabulous work in the AR space. I would say AR, the industry is only shaped up in the last 5 years. In the last 5 years, you've moved away from AR and VR, but he's done some fabulous work in his previous role on AR and VR, so would love to hear your thoughts.
Thanks a lot for sharing the, you know, kind of the campaign. I think the campaign was absolutely fabulous. And see, Metaverse is here to stay. So, you know, the hype, like you said, is, you know, kind of tapering down right now. And, you know, I was a part of this industry back in 2015, and it was when, you know, people were not even willing to try. Brands were not willing to try. And, you know, there are few drivers when we look for scalability in technology. There are few drivers, you know, which actually, you know, kind of bring that scale. One of which is, of course, accessibility. Now, accessibility is driven by devices. You know, you pointed it out that so many people actually, you know, kind of viewed the Travis Scott concert on their mobile phones. Now, that's scalability. Yeah. Back then, of course, with scalability, there is ease of use, which comes into play. Of course, you know, what another thing, you know, which is there is bandwidth. You know, how much of bandwidth is there, and so on and so forth. So back when we started in AR, VR, and, you know, it was really exciting technology when we used to like show those immersive experiences, and we could overlay any kind of an experience on any surface. And nobody had seen it before. But it was a little too early, just because there were certain constraints to that technology back then, and the constraints were, it was limited to certain devices, it was limited to certain apps. You had to go through an app to experience that entire, you know, kind of immersive feel that you get out of AR and VR. What happened in the last 5 years? The big tech actually came in. You know, AR, then there was Spark AR, which came into picture. Yeah. Now, Spark AR gave AR scalability. Spark AR took AR into, kind of people's homes.
Yes.
Just because it came into platforms like Instagram, Facebook, Google, everybody was investing in it. And it became a household name. Now today, while we go and we check out those filters on Instagram, everything is driven by AR. 5-6 years back, that wasn't the case.
I think one of the campaigns which I think you did was on OnePlus, on Blipper, right? So the OnePlus CEO pops in on your table and he's giving a presentation on OnePlus. You can do that in 24 hours right now.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
so advanced that I can go DIY, I can create my own hologram, and I run my presentations that way. I ask my clients to scan a code and I pop in on the table right there and talking about a particular subject. So it's so advanced, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the scale also comes in when the brands start accepting, when the companies out there, they start accepting these technologies. And application plays a big role. Application is pretty much the use cases that we have.
Yeah.
So today the amount of use cases that the technology has been able to deliver is absolutely amazing. Today, ranging from your fashion giants, they are using AR in many different ways. And that is actually aiding the selection process for a consumer online. On the other side, if you look at auto, there are virtual showrooms which are coming into play, and every auto player out there is investing in it. And of course, the pandemic accelerated everything for us just because it was not possible to get people into the showrooms. Then how do we actually give them that experience? AR, VR was a technology which actually aided it. Now, we are talking about Metaverse, and then a lot of you would say, why are we talking about AR and VR when we talk about Metaverse? Metaverse is an amalgamation of a lot of technologies out there.
Yeah.
It's AR, VR, MR, it's blockchain, it's cryptocurrencies. All of that coming together, builds that entire fabulous world of Meta. And over the last 5-6 years, I belong to kind of a brand right now where we are working. We believe in physical experiences. So a lot of people would say, kind of.
That's why I turned down 3 of my Metaverse ideas.
So we believe in visceral experiences. We believe just because when you use our products, the feel that you get when you sit on the saddle is so much different. But now the technologies are there to actually provide you that feel, even if you're not there in the showrooms when you're not on the saddle. So I think it would take a little bit of time, and I have seen that this industry, this technology grow over the last 5-6 years. But I'm very positive about it.
Yeah. Just to add to what Jatin said on the VR space, I was running a panel and Dave Dolan from VRTIV, he was part of that panel. And the kind of work they are doing on VR EdTech is mind-blowing. Today, as we speak, there are kids sitting in Mizoram who put the VR device on, Make in India VR device, which is like, I would say half the price of Quest 2, and they're getting educated. This is all funded through the government channels, right? And the education, what you get through VR is sensational. I mean, imagine the entire heart is popping out with all the veins visible. You're never going to forget it. Rather than a textbook style books you're opening up and reading, this is a pulmonary vein. Here the pulmonary vein is on your face. It comes out and the medical student would know you got to cut this. You don't want to cut this literally, but yeah, this is what immersive means, right? So Metaverse can be experienced through actual immersion, which is what Jatin spoke about. So whether it's a mixed reality eyewears, which is what Jio is launching now, that's going to be another transformation in a big way, right? Those glasses are going to make inroads into your household you won't even know. And your kids would be creating that new age profile pictures and videos would be the meta-humans. And that's already happening, right?
Absolutely. This technology has taken so many years to grow. Back in 2003, I think is when Second Life came into existence. Not
Yes.
many people in India would have experienced it
You were
because...
studying then.
Yeah, so were you, I guess. But yeah, so many people would not have realized, that this would actually, become so big.
Yeah.
Back then, the word metaverse did not exist. But you could still, kind of connect with a person and be in a virtual world and do whatever you want to. And today, all of that is coming to life. The next generation, all of this will be native. We are seeing this transition. For a lot of us, it will be difficult to understand that how can this be possible? How can I buy something which is of such a high ticket value sitting at home? But I think for the generations to come, all of this is native and they would actually do pretty much everything in those metaverse, kind of boundaries.
Yeah, anyways, for our kids, everything is outdated. They don't even go to Netflix. All they do is just either headgears or they are watching some content. They are spending a lot of time on Roblox. one of the Roblox studies says that 1 out of 5 kids changes his avatar every day. Imagine how powerful the avatars are, right? I mean, me, myself, like I said, I created my metahuman wherever I go. If I'm running a workshop, my metahuman does the talking, right? I control it with the console and stuff. So life has already gone sci-fi for us in the last 8 months. It's so experiential right now, and it's closer to us. It's not that it's going to happen, ek saal baad hoga. It's all happening. It's around us. You just need to open your eyes and listen to experts who are talking here, and you will get lot of dope in there. Now over to Aditya. I just wanted to make a note and ask you this. This is on sports. How teams can engage in the metaverse. I gave you a Nestle Munch example, but personally I feel there is so much which can be done in the entire Web3 space, right? And look at YSL. Look at Web3, how it's evolving when it comes to loyalty as well. And there's so much which can be done in the sports space, right? And we were just discussing the importance of 1PD. And what better destination to engage the 1PD, the first party audiences, than Web3?
You're totally right. I think with most of our new generation going towards the meta, I think for sports teams it's paramount that they have experiential space out there. They can do so much from it. They can showcase things that otherwise could not be done. They could make sure that all stakeholders of the team are also showcased. For example, sponsors. You can have a section just for sponsors and their product. Keeping all the commerce on one side, I think the main thing is experiences. Curating experiences which would otherwise not be possible, whether it's time constraints, whether you can't reach to a certain place. Yes, physical ones will still keep happening, but sitting in a room, you can engage with an audience which is pan-India, which is all over the world, and that goes on to where the loyalty and the first party data, which is again something which is moving quite at a rapid pace, and these are the spaces where and platforms that you'll be able to do that and quite easily, and this is where you can scale up really well.
Yeah, so if you see the session we are doing, and it's a compact one, we've got about 3 minutes now. We are trying to cover all what Metaverse encapsulates and giving you a heads up in terms of where is it heading towards, right? Another really beautiful, very promising space is NFT, which is in the gray zone right now. A lot of conversations happening out there. So NFT has, I would say the novelty value of NFT has lapsed, which means the true value of NFT is going to evolve. And look at our recent use case on Mondelez, the gems NFT, right? Our kids, they keep scribbling a lot of stuff on the paper. So whatever they scribble or the drawings which they are creating, they feel they are MF Hussains of the world. Parents can actually click a picture, upload it on gems.com. That creates an NFT. That's being now liquidated, and the money goes in for education, computer science education for underprivileged kids. That's an amazing use case of NFT, right? So Jatin here, are you working on similar use cases? Because I see NFT and Royal Enfield, which is like a cult brand, go hand in hand. Definitely you can create something out there.
Yeah, so there are two ways of actually kind of ride the wave. So one is either you ride the wave when it's happening and you don't bring a lot of relevance to it. For us as a brand, it's very important to kind of have relevance in whatever we do, and which is the reason we have rider right at the core of everything that happens. In terms of what we do in marketing. So very recently, we did try out, and I think yesterday only we have launched this campaign on NFT, which is called Art of Motorcycling. So what we Art of Motorcycling is in its third season now. 2 seasons are over. So the idea was to ask people, and it did not start as an NFT campaign. So to say, we never thought it would actually land up being an NFT campaign, or we'll convert anything to an NFT. So in 2 seasons, what we realized, there were more than 3,000 kind of creatives which were submitted by the community, expressing what motorcycling is to them. And there were some amazing pieces of art which came out, which actually put a lot of pressure on us that how do we take it to the next level. Now, either we keep on doing season after season, keep on printing t-shirts, we keep on, kind of making mugs out of it. Or we do something bigger and we try and give it back to the community, and we try to also, in some ways, enable and empower those artists who are out there who have put their trust in the brand. And we took the best of the art that came our way, and we've converted all of those into NFTs. And very recently, we actually, now yesterday only, we released that campaign. We're receiving very good, feedback from the community. But the idea is to, this NFT space, the potential is absolutely endless. Because today, I questioned myself, maybe an year and a half back when NFTs were, kind of getting that hype. What do I do with this if I buy it for like $40,000 or $1 million or whatever? Yeah. Where does it go from here? Now the answer then again comes back to Metaverse. It all starts making sense when Metaverse starts coming to life, and all of these NFTs also start making sense, because the only place where you can actually, kind of all of these parallel economies can, kind of exist, and they will exist in the days to come, is going to be Metaverse. And this was our first foray into, kind of taking our community to NFT, give them a global platform to ensure that their art is reaching out to a much larger audience. But it's just a start. We want to actually take it.
That'll ensure I thought there would be a buzzer or something, but that'll ensure we finish it on time. So just to conclude, Metaverse or the entire space of Web3 is not a fad by any means. These are technology, tools, and platforms that are going to form the basis of our lives in times to come, right? So it's so much to look forward to. Hype is over. The true work is going to happen now. And the buzzer says it's time up, but you can ask your question if she allows.
In all our conversations when we were exploring Metaverse or other NFTs, there comes a point where the commerce aside comes into the picture. And where do you think this is going to go? Like, that's something which I believe everyone has in their mind, but probably not asking. I just want to ask this.
I have a hard answer, but you go for it. No, you go for it.
No, commerce aside was a comment, because actually for sport, it's a very, very good platform for engaging. And that's a very important part for brand building in our this thing. And if you can build the brand, that will lead back to commerce. So yes, we all are looking at some commerce, that some maybe tickets have to be bought, merchandise has to be this thing. But if you build your brand in a way that people then start engaging, following, it's bound to happen.
You're already seeing some use cases with journey building, H&M globally. It's too nascent. We'll have got to give it some time. Commerce is the eventual thing, right? So everyone's looking at that. Yeah, anyone else, or should we wrap up for the day?
How do you see the role of Metaverse in pharma marketing, brand building, from clinicians' perspective or doctors' perspective? How do pharma industry communicate through Metaverse to doctors?
B2B, we are.
See, ideally it's all, so Metaverse, again, I'll break Metaverse into multiple things. So, AR and VR, I feel, kind of has a big role to play out there, just because either a person walks into a doctor's store or like where he practices, and you try and sell using your booklets and brochures or whatnot. The other way is that you can actually kind of give a very, very immersive experience in terms of also showcasing the same thing in a better and a more engaging manner. So it can be a sales tool as well.
I'm raising my hand. I've got a good answer.
Yeah.
Well, what I'm saying is, did you see that AR work on how to use oxygen cylinders in COVID times? Yeah, that what is that oxygen things which you're supposed to use, right? You put it on. No, not the oximeter, not the other one. Just to take concentrator. There was an AR use case that tells you how to fit that oxygen concentrator and how to use it. It's so powerful. Getting what I'm saying? It's mind-blowing powerful. Simple use case, but you are at home, you're stuck at home, it's COVID, you cannot go out. But a simple scan can actually tell you in an immersive way, because there are so many things to plug it back, right? Those pipes, and then you know which one to put it in. It looks easy. But there was an AR software which was being used to perfection. And that's pharmacy. Any other pharmacy brand could have written on that and would have done wonders with it. Someone launched it, did a fab job. It's a paradise for creative folks. Anything can happen. Yeah, we call it a day. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you.